Welcome to Mind 101. Alright, let's get right into it. Have you ever scrolled through social media, seen someone with a Lamborghini and thought, how did they do that? Or maybe you've wondered why your coworker, who seems to make the same salary as you, is somehow getting ahead financially while you're stuck spinning your wheels. The answer is almost always simpler than you think, and it has nothing to do with luck, a massive inheritance, or some complicated stock market strategy you need a PhD to understand. It boils down to one single, incredibly powerful concept that the wealthy understand instinctively, and the vast majority of people completely miss. This concept is the fundamental difference between an asset and a liability. It sounds boring, I know. It sounds like something your high school accounting teacher would drone on about. But I promise you, if you stick with me, this one idea can literally change your financial future forever. It's the master key that unlocks the door to wealth. Let's break it down. Simple. Define our terms. What exactly is an asset? Robert Kiyosaki said, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. That's it. If you own something and it generates income for you without trading your time, you own an asset. Think of it as a small money-making machine. You buy it once and it pays you again and again. Let's look at some real-world examples. Real estate, rental property. You buy a duplex, live in one side, rent out the other. The rent your tenant pays covers the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and hopefully, there's a little extra left over. That extra cash flow hits your bank account. That's an asset at work. But assets aren't just limited to properties. Dividend-paying stocks, index funds, buy a share of Apple, buy a share of Coca-Cola. When the company profits, it may pay a dividend. That dividend is money into your pocket for owning the stock. You didn't have to show up to a single meeting or sell a single product. You buy the asset and that asset sends money back to you. And it doesn't stop there. Laundromat, vending machines, a book you wrote, an online course you created, selling for years. Heck, even a skill you learn can be an asset. Learning how to code, becoming a great public speaker. That skill can open new income streams that put more money in your pocket. The things that keep you broke. Now that we know what an asset is, let's talk about its evil twin, the liability. If an asset puts money in your pocket, a liability does the exact opposite. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. It's a financial obligation, a money pit, a recurring expense, month after month, year after year. Let's look at the most common liability that almost everyone has, a car loan. You buy a brand new car for, let's say, $40,000. You take out a loan. Now you have a $600 monthly payment for the next 6 years. Every single month, $600 is vacuumed out of your bank account. On top of that, you have to pay for insurance, gas, maintenance, repairs. The car is constantly taking money out of your pocket. And to make matters worse, it's a depreciating item. The second you drive it off the lot, it's worth less than what you paid for it. It is the textbook definition of a liability. Another classic liability is credit card debt. Let's say you buy a new TV, a vacation, some nice dinners, racking up a $5,000 balance. If you don't pay it off immediately, the high interest rate kicks in. We're talking 20% or more. Now, you're not just paying for the things you bought, you're paying extra money to the credit card company every single month. This whole framework of assets and liabilities was popularized by Robert Kiyosaki in his legendary book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The core idea is simple and powerful. He describes two father figures, poor dad, rich dad. The difference wasn't intelligence or salary, it was mindset about money. It came down to what they chose to buy with their income. Poor dad's cash flow, paycheck in, money immediately flows out to expenses and liabilities. Mortgage, car payments, taxes, food, other bills. There's often very little, if anything, left over. This creates what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. You have to keep working harder to keep up with expenses. You get a raise, so you buy a bigger house or a nicer car, and your liabilities grow right along with your paycheck. You have to keep working harder to keep up with expenses. The rich dad, on the other hand, had a completely different cash flow pattern. When income came in, his first priority wasn't to spend it. His first priority was to buy assets. He'd take a portion of income and buy rental properties, stocks, businesses. These assets then create new streams of cash flow. He used that income to buy more assets. This created a self-perpetuating cycle of wealth. His asset column kept growing. His income grew independently of his labor. This is the secret. The wealthy focus their energy and capital on building assets. Okay, so this is where things get a little controversial and honestly where most people get tripped up. We're often taught to believe that the biggest purchases we make in our lives, our home, our car, our assets. Maybe your parents told you, buying a house is the best investment you'll ever make. And while there's some truth, it's dangerously oversimplified. Your primary residence is often one of the biggest liabilities you will ever own. Does your house put money in your pocket every month? Nope, it does the exact opposite. Every single month, money flows out to pay for mortgage, property taxes, homeowners insurance, utilities, maintenance, unexpected repairs. A house becomes an asset when you treat it like one. Rent spare bedrooms, rental income covers a significant portion of your mortgage. You're turning a liability into an asset. Buy a duplex, live in one unit, rent the other, tenant's rent covers the entire mortgage. You're living for free and you've got a true asset. And the same logic applies, even more, to your car. A car is almost never an asset, unless you use it to directly generate income, driving for Uber, running a delivery service. For 99% of people, a car is a rapidly depreciating liability. Buying a $50,000 luxury car on credit? That's one of the fastest ways to destroy your wealth-building potential. One of the biggest hurdles on the path to financial freedom is correcting our own flawed thinking about money. We live in a consumer culture that constantly bombards us with messages to buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't even like. The most common version is treating consumer electronics like assets. People will line up for hours to buy the latest iPhone. They tell themselves it's an investment because it has a better camera for social media, or they say it helps them stay organized. Let's be brutally honest. It's not an investment, it's a tool, and it's depreciating. Another huge mistake, lifestyle inflation. You get a raise or promotion, instead of building assets, you upgrade lifestyle. Move into a more expensive apartment, lease a fancier car, eat at more expensive restaurants, buy more designer clothes. Expenses rise to meet income. You end up in the same position, just shinier. Root cause, misunderstanding wealth. People confuse appearance with actual wealth. Luxury car, designer watch, expensive clothes. Symbols of spending, not wealth. True wealth is what you own that generates income. It's the size of your asset column. So, how do we flip the script? How do we adopt the mindset of the wealthy and start making our money work for us? It comes down to a simple, unwavering mantra. That mantra is this: buy assets, not liabilities. Before you buy anything significant, pause and ask, will this put money in my pocket or take money out? Warren Buffett champions this idea. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. He's talking about assets, owning businesses, stocks, other investments that earn income around the clock. Buffett built his fortune by acquiring income-producing assets and reinvesting to compound growth. Robert Kiyosaki. The rich buy assets, the poor only have expenses. The middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. Move yourself out of the poor or middle class pattern deliberately. It takes discipline and prioritizing your financial future over instant gratification. Buy a $100 share in an index fund instead of a $100 pair of sneakers. Make this mantra your financial operating system. Every dollar you earn is a soldier. You decide where to send it. Send it to battle. Invest in assets and bring back more dollars. Millionaires consistently send money into battle and build an army of dollar soldiers. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually start, especially if you don't have a lot of extra money lying around? The good news is, you don't need to be rich to start building your asset column. In fact, you can start today, for free. The most valuable asset you can ever acquire is financial knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, the next step is to take control of your cash flow. You need to know exactly where your money is going. Use a simple budgeting app or even just a notebook and track every single dollar you spend for a month. This will be an eye-opening experience. You'll likely find liability leaks you never knew you had, subscriptions you forgot about, daily coffees that add up, impulse buys. By identifying and plugging these leaks, you will free up cash. This isn't about depriving yourself, it's about being intentional with your money so you can direct it toward your future. This reclaimed cash is the seed money for your asset column. With the small amount of cash you've freed up, you can take your first practical step into investing. You don't need thousands of dollars to buy real estate. You can start by opening a brokerage account, which is free, and investing in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. You can often start with as little as $25 or $50. The key is not the amount, it's the habit. Beyond investing money, you can invest time in yourself to build your skills. This is an asset you have complete control over. Take a free online course to learn a high-demand skill like digital marketing, graphic design, coding. These skills can be turned into a side hustle, creating a new stream of income. That new income can then be funneled directly into buying more financial assets. So let's bring it all home. If there is only one thing you take away, let it be this. Getting rich has little to do with how much you earn, everything to do with how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. Wealth isn't your paycheck. It's the strength and size of your asset column. How long could you survive if you stopped working today? The path is a marathon, not a sprint, built on thousands of small, disciplined choices. Make coffee at home and invest the $5. Drive your paid-off car longer and invest the would-be payment. Spend your evenings learning a skill instead of watching Netflix. Each decision seems insignificant, but compounded over years, they create millionaires. Forget keeping up with the Joneses. The Joneses look rich but are drowning in liabilities. Your goal? Be rich, not look rich. Be rich. Own assets that pay your lifestyle. True wealth equals freedom. Freedom to choose your work. Freedom to spend time with your family. Freedom to pursue passions without money worries. Starting today, change your perspective. See every dollar as a potential employee. Build an army of dollar employees working 24/7. Start small. Educate yourself. Control your spending. Begin acquiring assets, however small. Build your asset column, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. This is the secret. This is the difference. Not complicated, but it requires discipline. Now you know the rules. It's time to start playing the game to win. If you find any value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.